I've been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. We are going to be looking at some damage that has occurred from storms today. Not a lot of that, but we have seen it from time to time across North Mississippi. Wind damage in particular, not much in the way of hail damage, thankfully. A shot here coming in the last few minutes here of some of the damage, I believe, in the western portion of Tupelo here. I'm going to pop Gabe's mic up behind the scenes. Gabe, give me the location on this if you can.
This is in Chesterville, submitted by AREA, which is basically west of the Tupelo Airport.
Okay, and I've seen some out on Butler Road as well, predominantly wind damage there. And you can see that's a pretty decent hole, couple of those in the roof of that home. So it's going to take some time to get things back up and working right there, unfortunately. We'll talk to Gabe more about some of the damage that's being reported coming up here in a couple of minutes. But live here at 6 p.m., hour-by-hour forecast shows us that we could still have some thunderstorms, but severe weather, we didn't really have a great chance to begin with. Very only isolated reports. I'd say less and less chance over the next couple of hours. We're still holding on to about 90 for the spots where we have not seen the rain-cooled air at 7, 80 by 10, 78 by 1 o'clock in the morning, and mid-70s by early morning for tomorrow. Headlines, again, spotty storms continue into this evening. Heavy rainfall, the main impact out of what's left of the thunderstorms out there. Dangerous heat is building. We have those heat advisories back in place, and those extreme heat warnings could be in store for us eventually. And we're looking toward the Ignite Leadership Conference. Our Emily Leonard joining us with more Mississippi Live news and what she has coming up here in a couple of moments as well.
Yeah, Matt, the Community Development Foundation had a big announcement this morning. They have announced their lineup for the Ignite Leadership Conference. This is a conference that they have done annually, every year, for the last 10 years. It's in January, and it's always a big turnout, and they bring in some big names. And since they're having a big anniversary, 10 years, they have brought in some big dogs. So we'll talk a little bit about who that lineup is and where you can get your tickets coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, looking forward to that with Mississippi Live News in just a couple of moments here. Here, all your headlines of the day. Outside right now in Cortland, we're looking at one of our strongest storms of the hour. About 161 strikes on this one here, moving northward toward the Batesville area. Check our camera up there in Batesville right now for the latest on how that one is kind of moving northward there. And you can see some of those storms there toward the horizon. No severe weather out of this. Rain cooled to 86 in Batesville. Feels like 91. That's the impact when you're lucky enough to get under some of that rain-cooled air and what it can have along with it. Out in Pittsboro, similar shot, looking toward the horizon, looking toward some of those storms back toward Water Valley. Reporting station there looks like it is not reporting back to us at this point and time. Wider shot, again, Water Valley, we had some storms there last hour or so that have diminished back west of Grenada. Watching one that actually is kind of moving northward and eventually might make its way closer to Charleston there, though, again, not particularly fast on any of these, only 10 to 15 miles per hour. We'll say 13 gets that toward Oxbury at about 616. We're looking toward Tippo by about 640 and Tandy by about 655. It continues at about that speed there. Looking across the remainder of North Mississippi here at this time, again, showing up with what are primarily, again, just sub-severe storms. Down here toward Carroll County, again, these are somewhat heavier near Qualla there and Centerville and Wiltshire. But if I check our True Shield hail swath on this, no real hail being detected. And that's kind of, I think, what we can use as our threshold for where should we pay the most attention. And we're pretty much looking at that with that one batch that we had back there in Montgomery County. better part of about 45 minutes to an hour old. So that is a sign that these storms are largely on the downswing and becoming less and less intense by the moment here. Wider shot shows where the weather is actually more significant. Up to the Midwest, we do have this front up here that is kind of more the focal point for storms. That is where the severe weather risk is, because severe weather, again, is not our main headline this week. It will be heat. So that severe weather risk you can see in that yellow and orange zone to the north does shift slightly closer by Tuesday, but still solidly north of us and more deep into Tennessee by Wednesday. But it's a sign that that jet stream is up to the north, and we are blocked out in a way that's going to allow nothing but heat from the Gulf to be really the dominant factor next couple of days. So the next few hours, a few storms remain possible, but you can see by 10 p.m. tonight, most of those largely falling apart. As we head past midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, mainly dry, just some leftover, what we call convective debris, so leftover clouds behind those storms as we begin the first part of your Tuesday morning at what will be undoubtedly a hot Tuesday. We're going from 75 at 6 a.m. to 83 degrees by 9 a.m., 92 by noon, and 94 by afternoon. That 94, when you factor in the humidity, will feel like at least 104, and in some cases, it could be closer to 110. So it is going to be hot, dangerously so, with very limited chance for a couple of showers very late in the day for tomorrow. We're going to look at where those are most likely as we watch this building heat. The tropics also getting more active. We're going to be tracking the very latest on those coming up here in a few minutes. But 60 seconds from now, it's Mississippi Live News with our Emily Leonard as Mississippi Live at 6 continues right after this.
Imagine your child with no place to sleep. For many children, that is their reality tonight. When you buy a mattress at Room to Room, we give one to a child in need through Beds for Kids. Buy a bed, give a bed, change a life.
Dust off your favorite shotgun and sign up for the Natchez Trace Council Clay Classic. Call 662-842-2871 or visit natcheztracecouncil.org.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Emily Leonard. The countdown is now on for Tupelo's new fire station. Fire station number 5 going up on South Green Street. It's 90% done, according to the fire chief, Brad Robinson, who spoke with the Daily Journal. Crews walked through the building Thursday, working on that final punch list before the final details are done and they can move in. No move-in date just yet, though, but once the firefighters do get in and get settled, the old station's going to be torn down. The project cost $4.2 million for the station, another $219,000 for that pole barn you saw there, and about $3.4 million of that coming from state appropriations. Now, meanwhile, the city's already planning to replace fire station number 1 and turn that into an emergency command center. The Attala County Sheriff's Department has had it. This morning, the sheriff and his deputies put out a very stern, very straightforward warning to thieves. Check this out. It warns to the individuals stealing phone lines, internet lines, copper wiring, and other property, your time is running out. Stealing these materials is a serious safety concern for people, according to the sheriff. Goes on to say you can run, you can hide, but you cannot steal from the citizens and business of Attala County and expect to get away with it. If you do have any information, you're asked to call the Attala County Sheriff's Department. When you hit a milestone like 10 years, you bring in the big dogs, right? So on this 10th anniversary of the Ignite Leadership Conference, the CDF announced the conference will feature none other than renowned leadership expert and best-selling author John Maxwell, internationally recognized executive coach, best-selling author, and leadership expert Valerie Burton, along with Mark Cole, the former CEO of Maxwell Leadership. And when I say big dog, I mean it. Check this out. John Maxwell has written more than 90 books, 90, and sold more than 38 million copies worldwide on leadership. New York Times bestseller, #1 there. Wall Street Journal bestseller, #1 there. So, you guys, I think he might be onto something. Also in the lineup, Burton. She is known for her work in resilience, purpose, and confident leadership, while Cole has helped organizations all around the world develop stronger leaders and healthier workplace cultures. It is quite the lineup. The Ignite Conference always sells out. It is set for January 21st, but go ahead and get your tickets right now because, like I said, they go fast. Go to igniteleadership.com to pick up your ticket. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. Have a great night.
Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by August 28th, and you'll be eligible to win the house and the bonus prize, a 2026 Polar Ranger, courtesy of Dream Day Foundation. Visit dreamhome.org or call 1-800-456-8351 to reserve your ticket today.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
Welcome back to Mississippi Live at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobheim. Again, watching some of the reports you guys continue to send in. We'll check in with Gabe on some of the pictures that have come in of damage in and around the Tupelo area. Some new ones coming in the last couple minutes here that he'll be able to pull up and show you. Unfortunately, it's been a decent amount of wind damage, primarily tree damage in and around those locations. Our heaviest spots here where we still have some thunderstorms similar to the top of the broadcast out here in Carroll County, stretching up northward to western Grenada County. Continuing to look at those. Again, heavy rainfall, decent amount of lightning on these showers and thunderstorms there. Gabe, by the way, they came in using the app, just so you're aware. That's where they came in a minute ago there. But again, decent number of thunderstorms here. Going back to that True Shield hail threat, which has kind of been helping us today to get an idea where they're strongest, honestly, and our severe threats. Most of these, again, probably below severe limits at this point here. Thankfully, all kind of lifting toward the north. Another batch up here that we have, again, north of Charleston, close to Cortland and Batesville. We checked out this camera off top of the broadcast. Let's get another look there as it's encroaching with that heavy rainfall and everything else into the Batesville area. Batesville coming in, again, with, again, the heavy rainfall sort of showing up there. But we're also, I think, pointed the opposite direction from where it is the most intense at this moment and time. Coming in there again, 86 degrees at this instant. Those winds out of the south and picking up a little bit of speed there as that storm kind of moves in to the Batesville area. I'll switch back into the regular rainfall mode on Mama Justice Doppler radar to get a look at that thunderstorm there. Get it back over there for just a moment. Sorry, popping back and forth on a couple of things. Again, Cortland moving there toward Batesville, and I'll get a storm track on that. These are just moving so incredibly slowly. That's the trouble. As soon as you track it, the next one ends up moving through. But Batesville shows 620 for the heaviest rainfall and everything that's going along with that one there. I do have a video came in just a couple minutes ago. Emily, I think we might have to get that back over. Give me a second to get this back over to the video mode. We'll see if we can pop up this video from a few minutes ago that Emily was able to bring in, again, of some of the heavy rainfall. Tanya Robertson with the shot Rain and Sunshine. One of my favorite features when those two things happen at the same time. Of course, not just sunshine, but our Gabe Maynor has been tracking some of the damage reports that you have been sending in, and many of those coming in from the western part of Tupelo there, Gabe, with some of the wind damage today.
Yeah, Matt, you're exactly right. The damage, unfortunately, starting to come in more and more as folks are getting power and as those storms are starting to clear out. This was in Tupelo, submitted there by Hunter, and you can see the large tree uprooted. I mean, that's a pretty decent sized tree. I can zoom it in to make it a little bit larger there. The root ball there on the ground falling. Luckily, looks like it might have avoided the home out there in Tupelo, so that is a fortunate sight, but I know that those large trees take a little bit to remove. Another one out there, and I do believe that, let's get a specific location on this. Lake Circle over there in Tupelo, along West Tupelo. And also talking about West Tupelo, this is along Butler Road. You know, this is where my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they live out there, and they were telling me that their top of the mailbox is blown off. Some of the children's toys out there, you know, loose objects blown around, tree limbs broke, and cans knocked over, and you can see some of the trees that are knocked down as well, including some of those larger limbs into the driveway. So unfortunately, a large part of the damage coming out of one focused area there in West Tupelo along Butler Road. Another tree there snapped at the base. That looks to be like some straight line wind damage out there. So yeah, those winds definitely picked up. But like you talked about, Matt, we're kind of in the God's promise after the storm, and that rainbow showing up, showing bright, and everyone enjoying some of that sunshine before it does set here in a couple of hours.
Absolutely appreciate that, Gabe. So we're luckily on the downswing with these storms. There's still going to be some heavy rainfall. There's still going to be some lightning, but not as much in the way of damage. We're about half as many lightning strikes as we were just an hour ago. So one of the signs that that's decreasing. The orange counties here, heat alerts, heat advisories that are in effect for this evening. Going to be in effect again for tomorrow, and probably expand a little farther eastward for some spots as we head toward tomorrow as well. So still popping up some isolated thunderstorms, primarily Delta at this point in the next couple of hours. More fuel for thunderstorms there to keep going for a little while longer. One we show just west of Kosciuszko, a couple up here to Tupelo County, possibly by 8 o'clock, 10 p.m. tonight. Again, not impossible, still ongoing in Alabama, but for most of us, just a little flare-up, a little rumble, maybe past midnight, but not going to be as strong as some of the thunderstorms we had this afternoon or yesterday afternoon for that matter. As we head toward around 6 a.m. tomorrow, again, leftover clouds, that's about it. Mid-70s out there for low temperatures. Normal this time of year should be around 72, so we're definitely running a little bit of that. Our meteorologist Maggie McCall will be tracking any issues that we have out there starting at 6:30 tomorrow morning on the Mississippi Live this morning. Of course, you can check her out every weekday, 6:37 and 7:30 a.m., tracking maybe some patches of fog where the rainfall was the heaviest today. Tends to be the case again for tomorrow. Again, 6:37 and 7:30 a.m. here on Mississippi Live, where you'll find Maggie. As we look here toward your school bus forecast for tomorrow, probably starting off around 76 degrees, 94 by drop-off, and 104 or greater where those heat indices will be by afternoon. Now notice we have a little bit of a kind of westerly sort of breeze, again, for tomorrow. That's not directly out of the Gulf. I think there'll be probably some spotty storms popping up, but you'll notice on our futurecast here, the more active weather, severe weather, organized weather up closer to a front up there into Kentucky and far eastern Tennessee and North Carolina versus what we have here across North Mississippi. So rain chances, I think, better probably late in the day for tomorrow, and high temperatures up to around 94 in Water Valley and Grenada, 96 Houston, Tupelo, 94 for Columbus, 92 in Louisville. It'll feel like 102, 104 what it'll feel like Grenada, 105 for Greenwood, and 106 in Cleveland. Peak probably there at 110 in Clarksdale. Here are the isolated storms. So we have a couple of them tomorrow evening. The last couple days, Futurecast has been a little underdone the storms just slightly, so I think it's possible we're underdoing the quantity for tomorrow as well just a little bit. We'll say 10 to 20% on that rain coverage for tomorrow late afternoon and evening. By tomorrow night, most of that is out of here, and we spend the first part of early Wednesday morning relatively dry. Wednesday starts off upper 70s to maybe even near the 80-degree point out here for Cleveland, Clarksdale, and Belzona. As we go through the day, only really some thin clouds moving in from the north and west, a sign that, again, more active weather sits not that far away, up Pulaski, Tennessee, up toward Nashville. That's where storms are going to be a little heavier as we go toward Wednesday afternoon. Again, a severe weather threat that direction. We're not that far removed. I think we're going to be just as sticky, just as hot, just as humid. We just don't have the lift to really organize the storms as well here. But sometimes we get one of these rounds that sneaks up on us a little bit. Hopefully that's not the way that this works out with this, but at this point, keeping most of the strongest storms up north of us on Wednesday. So highs on Wednesday, going to be middle to upper 90s. In fact, we go all the way up to the 100-degree point in Greenville, Cleveland 97, 99 in Belzona. And when you factor in that humidity, it feels like 107 in Greenville, 111 in Clarksdale. So yeah, we probably see these heat advisories expanded eastward by your Wednesday afternoon because of this pattern, and probably also as look toward Thursday and Friday. We're going to look at that extended heat index, what that looks like toward this upcoming weekend coming up here in a couple minutes, but it's very clear cut. Our normalist time of year is 92, and we are way above that all the way into this upcoming weekend. So if you have not gotten your fill of summer yet, by the end of this pattern, no question that you will. Okay, we'll be right back after this as we're going to be looking at the tropics, which are getting more active. The possibility of us seeing tropical weather typically reaches its peak in early September, less than a month from now. We'll be checking in with our meteorologist Gabe Maynor on that as Mississippi Live continues in 60 seconds.
For years, it's been the same formula. If it bleeds, it leads. You deserve better. We are Mississippi Live. We're focused on the stories that matter to you, to your community, to your family, because local matters. We are Mississippi Live.
Friday, August 21st, don't miss the Tupelo Super Show benefiting St. Jude, featuring the legends of Memphis Wrestling. Reserve your seat right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
It's Friday night y estamos activos. Head out early. Drinks flowing till 11 p.m. It's gonna be lit.
No sé qué pasó. I didn't even drink that much.
Okay, let's talk heat indices, which go from hot to hotter to hotterer. Not actual English, but anyway, as you can see, up there on the average, there will be spots easily hotter than this, but on the average, by Friday, around 110, and on the average, as we look toward the first part of next week, potentially well above that. So it is going to be extremely hot going forward over the next few days. And the thing also heating up is going to be down in the tropics. We bring our meteorologist Gabe Maynor back. Again, he is...
A smooth transition there, Matt. I like that. Now, as we look at our tropical outlook, of course, we always go to the Atlantic. We're in the Atlantic hurricane season, and we do have a disturbance that is getting a little bit more organized. As you see over that 7-day stretch, 60% chance of development over the next 2, around 20%. So one of the things that I'm watching with this is the track that it's taking off of that African coastline, kind of following that Saharan dust as it moves into parts north of South America and trending, of course, west and maybe even eventually trying to get closer to our neck of the woods. But as of right now, it's still a long ways away and chance of development is still at 60%. So as that confidence climbs, so will that percentage. So that's what we'll be paying attention to through the rest of the week. With the other tropical outlooks, you can see that there are 2 additional disturbances. Both of those have a 10% chance of development over the next 2 days and a 10% chance of development over the next 7. So those are not really the focal point. It almost seems like this disturbance here being overtaken by that orange bubble there, if you want to call it that. So I do think that's going to be the one that prevails, but up a little bit more towards the north and east of where we are, up that northeast coast. This is trending further out into the northern Atlantic, and that's usually where storms go to die, and we're not expecting that to produce anything for us here in North America, just kind of following that jet stream, Matt. But that orange one, a little bit more intense, a little bit something to pay attention to.
Absolutely. I mean, it is getting closer to that time. We've already had a landfalling system, so I mean, it's not like it's not going to happen, from time to time. But yeah, it's here we go.
We just have to
starting to heat up.
We just have to figure out when Caleb's taking his trip to the coast, and that's around the time frame we can expect, because he was down there for Arthur a little bit earlier on this season.
And don't forget, I was down there for Bertha. The question is actually when Gabe Maynor
or stop, don't jinx
are going to the... Oh, I'm just saying that is the more likely scenario, so we can finish it out there.
Yeah, you're not lying about that. But hey, honestly, I will take some rain chances, because looking at that forecast and the stretch beyond, Matt, makes you appreciate the last little bit of showers we have today. Although they have been damaging, we don't want that. We take the rainfall and some of that rain-cooled air, because next week it is going to be toasty.
Yep. Absolutely. Appreciate that, Gabe. Sliding up here as we sort of wrap things up and get ready to talk to Emily here in a minute. To Iuka, this is what some of the good rain, I think, looks like, because while that's pretty heavy there, and I might have to check 3-dimensionally on this just to make sure it's not a little more impressive higher up there, That's moving around a little bit. We've lost that visibility we had a little bit ago, looking down toward the Woodall Mountain area in Iuka. Let's go ahead and, nope, rather than go there, there we go. That's what I was looking for here. We'll look 3D on this just to make sure it's not holding up a little bit more above the surface area. Yeah, it's not too terribly bad. It's a little more rough than I think it looked on radar, but not a lot more. That's not going to produce any sort of damage. I think this is how we'll kind of wrap up the weather portion of this, as I sort of look 3D at some of these, make sure there's not one there that has a whole bunch more up there. Look toward Grenada here just for a moment. Latest scan on that, on the location south of town there. Yeah, let's get a storm track on this one. It's been so spotty on how they've tried to move through that they don't always hold through all the way to this. We'll say 15 miles per hour. That would say 7 o'clock for Grenada. It's already starting to rain there. This would be if it were to be strong. I'm not convinced it necessarily will be. I mean, I don't have to be a meteorologist to look at this loop over the last 30 minutes and say it's creeping toward you. So Thai Plant, Glen Wild also in the path of this. Holcomb, about 6:29, which would put it here within the next about 3 to 4 minutes or so. Okay, let's check in with our Emily Leonard to find out what we have coming up on Mississippi Live News tonight at 9 and 10 p.m.
So the city of Starkville is looking into a possible nuisance ordinance, as in noise nuisance. The police chief down there talking with the dispatch saying that there's 2 main properties that they get called out to a lot. And by I mean a lot. More so than all the other properties put together, at least the big ones. So they're talking about that. Also coming up a little later on tonight, the Columbus Municipal School District as well as Lowndes County talking taxes. Everybody loves to talk about taxes. So we're going to talk about that coming up a little later on tonight.
Well, I didn't see air quotes there when you said loves. Loves. Yeah, I appreciate that. Our meteor. Hey, yeah. I was going to call you meteorologist, or honorary meteorologist today.
Hey, you know what? We've been married for 17 years. I think I deserve an honorary meteorological degree.
Well, I will say that you're pretty darn good at reading radar. So, you know, that's if I ever have some kind of major medical issue, you can step on in. I think you'd be just fine.
Oh, of course, gosh, let's pray that doesn't happen, because nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that, for sure. Appreciate that. And Gabe and Caleb and Maggie do a great job as well. Speaking of Maggie, again, you can check her out each and every morning, 6:30, 7:30 a.m. Here in our broadcast. Of course, Gabe will be back at 9 and 10 p.m. tonight with the very latest on what you can expect for this upcoming work week and just how hot those temperatures get. Hey, if necessary, we'll bring you more additional coverage here of storms and severe weather. Hopefully that is not the case. But thank you so much for watching us here on Mississippi Live.
Every legend starts somewhere.
Not with perfection, but with a decision.
The decision to show up, work harder, and believe this place can change everything.
At Northeast, you're more than just a number.
We're built on opportunity, and our students are willing to rise to the occasion.
Here, success isn't handed to you. It's earned.
You don't just leave with a degree, you leave as a legend.